Going last.
Thank you for talking right at the beginning of the podcast. I was hoping.
Probably do Colin first then.
Hello and welcome to this another podcast, which is surprisingly close to the last podcast, as long as I don't lose this one.
Shocking.
And this is a writers group. You know all of us. We might say our names when we start talking, and we're finally going to address. What? We're finally going to address the topic that we said we would the last time in like September. And we're going to discuss our favorite character that we have ever created. And so either Colin or Travis is going to start. I've heard both of those suggested. Go ahead, Colin.
Okay, you have to leave first.
Yes, I do. He did a very terrified face right there.
I think my favorite character that I've ever created probably has to be Avery, who is my main villain in my book that I'm writing right now, and I think he's my favorite because he's a crossover villain because he started off good, became a villain, and I think it's my favorite thing is writing villains because it's just fun to write evil characters and make them evil and figure out different ways to make them cleverly evil because he's a very clever villain and he's very smart and does things in very methodical ways and
he's still technically a relatable villain because he started as not a villain.
Right.
So.
He started as a good character and then kind of just went off the deep end.
Which is exciting to write too.
To make a good villain, watch the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Do nothing done in them.
I agree with not doing a lot of things in Superman movies. Okay, next.
Sound advice from Travis. Travis.
Alright, my favorite character for my book Familiars is Faye Morrigan. She's the best friend character, and I make it pretty clear from the get-go that there will be no shipping with her and James.
Which is always good.
Which probably won't stop people anyway, but...
Yeah, of course.
Of course not. Yeah.
Faye is very sharp-witted. She's the one who tends to get a lot of the pop culture references thrown in. She gets a lot of the fun jokes. She likes to point out the obvious. I also like that when I bring in the idea and the concept that there's, witches and familiars and these people that can turn into animals and all that, like, she doesn't freak out about it. She gets excited about it. This finally justifies, things that she thought were cool or were in her head or whatnot. I mean, this is a girl who hangs out in the graveyard for fun, so...
She's awesome and punk rockish.
Yeah, she's very punk rockish and sarcastic, and she...
You want her to be your best friend.
Yeah, you really do kind of want her to be your best friend. You want to hang out with her. And you can see how she probably would hang out with you, too. There's quite a few scenes where she's, standing up to bullies and defending, people of a lower perceived social class and things like that. She's just a very interesting character. I have a lot of fun writing, and it's going to be a lot of fun putting her perspective in the second book, because what I'm doing with the books is that every novel adds a perspective from a character. So, starting with the second book, you're going to get Faye's perspective in 2, 3, and 4. And she's got some important stuff ahead of her, too, but she's kind of a mix of a bunch of influences and characters like Felicity Smoke from Arrow, Chloe from Smallville.
Yeah, it really was the Felicity predecessor.
Kenzie from Lost Girl. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into her. She's really cool, and I'm not quite sure if she's who I'd like to have as a girl or what I would be like as a girl. It's probably somewhere in between those two.
I'll also say that we know from things that Travis has told us that Faye does get character development, which is another key thing in liking a character, because Colin's character, Avery, gets character development. He goes from good to bad, and Faye gets character development as well throughout the series.
Yes, there's a definite path and importance for her.
Will Avery go back to being good eventually?
Oh no.
Will he die tragically?
Oh yes.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
He is way off the deep end. There's no coming back for him.
Oh wait, yeah, I remember doing the Mary Sue quiz with him. That was fun. And then we beat it with we beat his score with Anakin, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was how we finally beat his score.
He's way off the deep end.
Yeah, and I think another point to how fun I have writing Faye is that I'm always pointing out in the story like exactly what her outfit and hair and what she's wearing and all that. And I don't do that as much with the other characters, but I feel like it's such an important part of her that I kind of have fun doing it, which is weird because I am not exactly a fashionista.
Probably not.
But he's letting out that very small feminine side. That all guys might have, except for the guys that we might mention who have absolutely no girly movies on their DVD shows.
I was about to say, Quincy's writing something in the comments right now.
Never mind.
That was, we won't go down that path. Who volunteers to go next? Is it me or is it someone else?
I can
Yeah, you're the one that has to go second next.
Go Noelle.
go. You see, it's kind of hard because my favorite character is one I haven't written for yet, but
That's fine.
I've been making her up since I was young. I mean, she's been around in my head for like forever. It's to the point where I actually, if I need confidence, sometimes I'll just I can just slip into character as her in my head. Because I like her because she is confident, but I don't know. See, it's hard because I like her because she's responsible and has a sort of world-weary sense of humor. I think I like the characters that get ahead on hard work, even and aren't necessarily like had stuff given to them, and I don't like real angsty. So
That is very Noelle.
yeah, but probably I'll just say sorry for including two. But since I haven't written for her, I'd probably say for the people you've written for, I really like the guy I made up, Nashin from Another Planet, mostly because he came from just an image in my head of someone being captured to actually having a personality and some backstory.
It's very satisfying.
And I like that he started out as a hostage and like in distress, but when I actually got to know his character, I figured out he's a little bit goofy and sort of a little ditzy,
That's wonderful.
which I kind of like. So yeah.
And it's interesting to have the male as the hostage in distress from the get-go, too.
Which is
That's
also very
usually-
Noelle.
Yeah.
I tried to do something different, and then
I didn't say it was
last time
bad.
I know, but last time I wrote something, I made the girl the hostage.
This is true.
Should I go or shall you go?
I like how we're assuming Bethany's going last.
Yeah,
She said that at the beginning.
Yeah, she's made that pretty clear. She
So
still
you make
doesn't
the
know
audience
right now.
guess
She's
which one of us it
she's
is.
choosing between her children in her head.
Oh, we were to say that my favorite character is this dragon that
It sounds like your Thorin voice.
that was my Thorin voice, come to think of it.
Well, yeah, I guess this is Nadia. I guess I'm going to pick my dragon, Alistair Algernon Chalmers III. And I like him a lot because I kind of got to, I've always kind of wanted to write a book series, and I've always tried to kind of do epic book series, and I finally started, I wrote this, while I was sitting there doing this project for a creative writing class. It's like, the sentence that came into my mind was like, I wasn't surprised to see a dragon sitting on my bed listening to my iPod, or whatever. So it kind of caught into my head like that, and then I kind of discovered what the dragon was doing listening to an iPod. And so he kind of cut out this character that's he's a pretty powerful dragon, and he's pretty smart, and he can do magic, but he also thinks a lot more of himself than he actually, he thinks he's much better than he actually is. So he's pretty funny, and he's one of those characters that, he doesn't know how funny he's being. He doesn't quite know that he's kind of making fun of himself by saying how amazing he is. And so he's not a evil dragon, but he does kind of do bad things. So it's one of those characters you can sort of root for and sort of laugh at, and I just like writing for him a lot. I'll give a shout out to the other character that I liked to play when I was younger, and
A
she
companion to Noelle's character.
Yeah, pretty much. She came in to Noelle's character, and she would run off and do absolutely crazy things and like run into the bad guy's lair
And was all powerful.
and was pretty much all powerful. She'd run to the bad guy's lair and then take over and become the evil overlord. Then decided she was bored and go home and like watch TV or whatever.
I played straight man all the
Yeah,
time.
pretty much.
I played Straight Man all the time too.
Yes,
Some
my
of Kaya's
characters were always like ones that took over the galaxy. So pretty much I like writing for extremely powerful characters that are kind of, not that scary and bad, but they just like have ultimate power. I'm not sure what this says about me.
Are you trying to leave, Colin?
In a little bit.
Okay.
A couple minutes.
Walmart beckons.
The Walmart. No.
It's a bad beckon.
I do like it because he has interesting relationships to other characters too. So you can put a bunch of people with him, and he does different things.
Yes, that is a good trait for a character. Faye definitely has that as well.
You kind of want to know what he's going to do when he.
You kind of want to write crossover stories with other characters, and I don't usually get that so much with mine. So I was pondering this, and it's an incredibly difficult problem for me because characters are my life. But I decided that logically, I would have to say that my main character of my novel, who finally got a name after 10 years, his name is Kristin, and he is my favorite because of all my novel characters, he's the first character that was entirely his own personality, instead of being based on some other fictional character that I liked and then I twisted their personality. He actually came out entirely on his own, with his own wonderful... And, well, obviously I like him because he's my main character, so I give him all my favorite main character personality traits. So...
Hero's journey in a bottle.
And apart from character development within the novel, he has had so much development within trying to write the novel, because he definitely started out as a perfect sort of character, and then he finally started developing flaws, and then I'm like, oh, I like you better this way. An honorary mention would have to be in the stories that I write with my friends. There's you're familiar with Elian, who popped up, and
She stole him from my world.
not exactly. No, your character influenced him, and
He jumped ship is what happened.
No, characters jump ship to Bethany's world. Remember?
She adopts them and takes them into her world.
Well, it's because her
We
world
can-
is a gravitational force.
We kick them out, and they're sucked into her world.
They like
But-
it there.
They're lost in the gyroscope
But
forever.
I was trying to write a character, and about the same time, she had a character who randomly popped into her world and wasn't supposed to be there. And then I had him pop up, and
Like a
he...
bad zit.
Anyway, he's the character of mine who, at this point, I cannot tell you what he's going to do. I start writing, and then he does stuff, and I'm like, well, that was interesting. I couldn't have predicted that. Which the rest of you don't understand in general. Except for Bethany. Bethany has characters that do stuff that she doesn't expect.
They'll do small things I don't expect.
It's very
but
exciting. No, I'm just telling you, every single thing he does, I can't predict it. But it's always in character.
I don't know what's gonna happen while I'm writing. For in most part, I just kind of write and it happens. So I don't know if that's the same thing or not.
Somewhat.
I don't know.
That's pretty much what I do.
Well, it stands out because
Sometimes
I
I
know
have
what the
sort
rest
of
of
an
my characters
idea.
are going to do, and I tell my characters to do stuff, and then he just does his own thing. Bethany?
Well, I have a lot of stories and I have a lot of characters, and
That's
I have
an
many of
understatement.
them who are my darlings. But everybody in the writers group is probably familiar at least with the name Will, who is...
I like the leech, but
and I do like the leech as well, but he doesn't actually have as much of a personality as I would like him to have.
I
Partly.
remember him.
I know Will like the back of my
Okay,
head.
so
We're
we're
not
all talking.
Sorry.
Anyway, the leech is my awesome bad guy, but the problem is I don't like writing evil, so I'll have to borrow
So
Colin
much
at some
fun.
point to make him more evil than he is right now. Will is my world's bad boy, who is the only character who actually figured out how to get out of my world and into ours. A couple times.
He's your Deadpool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes,
He is basically-
actually, he is. It's a scary thought. But I think my favorite character is my siren.
Oh, yeah.
Because she started out as a background character and then has become the... Elizabeth and Grace made me sit down with my characters at one point and get rid of all of the ones that weren't important. And it came down to about 5 characters, and she was the character that actually strings the entire plot together.
It's always good.
That's
Yeah.
funny how that happens.
But she wasn't actually supposed to be in the book, and she's
She's on the book, you know.
a very, very powerful character, who has the worst backstory out of any character in the world. My world.
Oh, I can always trump that.
Yeah, Elizabeth might be in my world, because the whole point of my world is that that's where everybody else's characters go when they don't like their worlds. So, her backstory might actually be fairly mild compared to everybody else's. But, so,
It's the
oh, and her
homeless
name
shelter
is...
of book stories.
But her name is Rena. So, yeah, I like her.
That was a surprisingly concise podcast there, all things considered. We didn't really go on too many rabbit trails.
Not too many.
We weren't allowed.
Deep personal problems.
Those out of our system already.
I'm not feeling any deep personal problems today. I mean, as we get closer to Valentine's Day, it might happen.
So, there you have it.
We all have problems with
Oh, poor
Valentine's.
Travis.
Although I don't want anyone before Valentine's Day because then I have to buy them something.
You want me to edit that out of the podcast?
He's available after the 14th.
Yeah.
While,
If you're cute enough, I'll break that rule.
while we're on that subject, Colin is a bad person to have as my sister's boyfriend because all of our guys, like Colin, like went over the top for Valentine's Day.
Colin is giving us an evil grin.
And my husband sat there trying to tell Colin, you're doing it wrong. You started out too big. You're supposed to start small so that in 10 years you can build up to this level. Now they all have to actually aspire to more than a rose.
So
to
his advice is selfish.
Yeah, very selfish.
Yeah.
Colin disregards this and will buy you a pony. Yeah, that's what you're getting for Valentine's Day. I hope you're listening in. Okay, I think we're about done there. Any final thoughts? Never mind, I'm not going to ask for final thoughts.
Pick me, pick me.
It's been fun. We'll see you next time.
Bye.